Hey everyone, Bill Lethman here for MoneyEvolution.com, and welcome back to another one of our daily live broadcasts. So if you've been tuning in for the past couple of days, I've been talking pretty extensively about cash flow. So we talked initially about understanding your cash flow and understanding the relationship that whether your cash flow is positive or negative, what impact that has on your balance sheet. Then yesterday's broadcast, we started talking about some ways to help you improve that cash flow and to start thinking about the actions that you're taking with regard to your money and what impact that's going to have on your cash flow. So if you missed either of those broadcasts, head back over into our Facebook feed and you can find those in our in the feed there. We're also going to be publishing these on our YouTube channel as well, so look for them there as well. And then once again, if you like what we're doing here, if you have comments or suggestions on future video topics, please include those in the comments. We'd love to get a little bit of feedback for you. So we're going to kind of continue that cash flow discussion here today a little bit, and what I want to do is look at, as you start to improve that cash flow, which is hopefully the outcome that you're going to get out of some of these strategies and techniques that we're teaching you, as you start to improve that cash flow, hopefully that's going to open up some possibilities for you and give you a little bit more flexibility. So today we're going to talk about how to be more intentional with the financial decisions that you make and work towards maybe designing the kind of life or the lifestyle that you want. So one of the things that I want to point out is that if you're in a cash flow situation that's not great, oftentimes we get so bogged down with trying to dig ourselves out of that cash flow position that it really traps us into that. And if you think about that, it might even trap us into a job or a work situation, or maybe it's a housing situation that you have. Maybe if your house is upside down on your mortgage, you don't have a lot of flexibility with that. But as you start to work your way out of that cash flow situation, hopefully that's going to start to open up some possibilities. And one of the things that we talk about here a lot of times is enjoying the journey along the way. So life is obviously a long-term game here. We don't want to fall into the trap where we're saving and doing everything today so that we can have a better future for retirement. Of course, we want that, but we also want to enjoy things along the way. So one of the things that I want to do here in today's video is I want you to start to think about some of the things in your life that are most important to you. And as you look at your work situation, as you look at your money situation, again, be more intentional about the decisions you're making, but really kind of make a list and maybe sit down, pull out a piece of paper and write down some of the things that are important to you. Maybe it's spending more time with your family. I know that's something we've talked a lot about here on the blogs, or having more relationships with friends, being able to spend more time with them. Maybe it's some traveling that you want to do and you want to get out and see different things. Health is certainly one of those things that you want to try to improve, and you want to stay healthy. You want to be able to eat right. You want to be able to take time for yourself, that you can go to the gym, or you can do yoga, or maybe it's some spiritual things. Maybe you want to have time to meditate, or you want to be more active in your church, or you want to do more charitable work. And you also might have some things goals too, or what I call things goals, where maybe you would like to have a better car, or you want to be able to buy something new for your house, maybe new furniture. And as you start to put some of these things on a single sheet of paper or a couple of sheets of paper, you can start to look at the relationship that some of these goals might have with each other. So maybe buying new furniture, buying a new car, maybe that could be in direct conflict with some of the other goals that you have on the page. So again, by putting this all down on paper, you can start to get an idea and maybe prioritize some of those goals and things that are most important to you. The other thing I want to talk about here too is to maybe expand maybe some of your thoughts that you have about your work situation. One of the things we talked a little bit about in terms of improving your cash flow is maybe you do something in addition to your regular job, and maybe that's something that not only can help you bring in a little bit of additional cash flow right now, but as we talk about in some of our other videos, it could be something that you could potentially take into retirement as well. And it's something I call rethinking retirement. So, traditional retirement is where maybe you work, 40, 50 hours a week. You're going 100 miles an hour, you're busy, you're stressed, and then all of a sudden you say, I'm going to retire at this particular date. Maybe it's early at 55 or at 60 or 65, whatever age that may be. and then you're going to never work another day again in your life. And for, I think, a lot of people, that is, in my opinion, kind of unrealistic. And I think a lot of people fall into a trap when they stop working. They don't know what to do. You can only play so much golf, you can only travel so much, and do so many things before you start to kind of maybe lose the purpose that you have, or you kind of lose interest in a lot of things, and you find yourself in these ruts where you're not really being as active. So one of the things, again, on another sheet of paper here, after you've gone through that last exercise, maybe start to think about your current work situation and make two columns. One column, maybe on the left, you can write dislikes, and on the right, you can write likes. And what you can start to identify are the things that, if you wanted to change your job situation, what are the things that you really are not happy with altogether? And some of the dislikes, and maybe these are some of the personal ones that I've had over my working career, the commute. At one time I had a long commute. It was through a lot of heavy traffic, 45 minutes each way to work, and so that was one of the things I hated about my job situation. Wearing a suit every day was not my favorite thing, and now that I've got my own business, I a lot of times choose not to wear a suit. Obviously, I'm not wearing a suit right now, and I do wear them occasionally when I have meetings and things going on, but wearing a suit was another thing that I hated, putting that suit on every day. Maybe you're in an environment where you have unproductive meetings and you don't like sitting in these meetings, you feel like they're a waste of time. Maybe it's the environment that you work in. Maybe you work in a place that maybe doesn't have any outside light coming in, or the place is dirty, or it's just not a clean or good environment, or maybe you have some coworkers that you don't really enjoy being around, and then maybe some of the likes that you have with your work, and maybe it's the work that you do. Maybe you really enjoy the work, but you just hate all of that other stuff. You really like seeing the output of the work and the effort that you're putting in. You like helping the clients if you're working with people one-on-one, or you like to see the fruits of your labor. For me, one of the things I really enjoyed with what I do is I really enjoy teaching. And so now that I've started my own business about 8 years ago, teaching has become a big part of what I do. That's why I do these videos. I really enjoy that. So think about what are those most satisfying aspects of your work, and then you can start to think about maybe how you could start to kind of design this. And instead of getting so frustrated with your work situation where you just can't wait to retire, and you want to retire as early as possible, maybe think about how you could shift some things right now. Maybe it's a possibility to go to your boss and ask them if you can work from home one day a week, and you can do your work on a patio. You might even be more productive by being able to do that. Or you can maybe work in a different area. Maybe there's a job opportunity that you have within your current employer. So start to think about those things. And once you've identified some of the likes and the dislikes of your current job, you can start to maybe work towards achieving some of those goals. And the other thing too, for some people, is maybe it's not your current job at all. Maybe it's not even the same industry that you're in. And there's people that make career changes even well into their 50s. They'll go back to school, they'll learn a new skill, or they'll, have a complete job transition. And especially if that's something that you might be able to take into retirement, where it's going to be something that's going to be more enjoyable, maybe look at that. And maybe you don't have to necessarily quit your job today to be able to do that, but you could start something on the side. And again, we talked a little bit about side hustle in the last couple of videos there, where maybe you're doing a business or you're doing some consulting in addition to your regular job that you can start to build up. And maybe that gets to a point where you can quit your regular job and you can focus 100% on just that extra income. So starting a business or learning something new. I have a friend of mine, and he's in his mid-50s, and he's thinking ahead to retirement. He's taking classes right now, or learning how to be a dog trainer. He loves dogs, and he's learning how to train dogs so that when he retires, he can have something that will keep him busy, do something that he loves, and generate a little bit of extra income for him. So, be thinking about some of those things. I was on YouTube here recently. I watch a lot of YouTube videos and follow a lot of people. Jim Carrey, the actor, the comedian, he was giving a commencement speech, and you can find this video on YouTube there, and he was talking about his father. And he says, my father could have been a great comedian, but instead of going after what his passion was, he chose to play it safe, and he got a job as an accountant. And when Jim was 12 years old, his dad lost that safe job as an accountant, and he said their family had to do basically everything they could just to survive. And So what Jim said, he says he learned a lot of lessons out of that, but he says one of the biggest lessons was that you can actually fail at something that you don't want. So you might as well, go after something that you do want. And I think that was just a really great lesson. And until recently, I never really thought of Jim Carrey as being that insightful, but he's really got some great insights there. If you look him up on YouTube, you can find some really great things. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful for you. So think about how you want your life to be. Maybe it's moving locations as you get closer to retirement. Maybe that's one of the things that you don't like, and you don't like the cold winters, for example, if you're in one of the climates like we are here in Michigan, and you want to go after some place that has a better climate. So there's all kinds of different things. Think about that life that you want to create. Again, I hope this video has been helpful. Hope it's given you a little bit of insight and a couple of ideas here that hopefully can help you improve your situation and start to think about how you want that outcome to be and being intentional with some of your actions. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. I'll see everyone back here tomorrow.